Hello, and welcome to another episode of Open Studio. I'm your host, Martina Flor, and in this solo episode, I discuss mindset and the limiting beliefs that are undermining your growth as an artist. Your mindset can have a huge impact on your success and accomplishing your goals. I know it did for me. Changing my mindset around what I could achieve as an artist and with my business had a huge impact on my success. This has also proven to be true for many of the artists that I have interviewed on this podcast. They have trained themselves to focus on possibilities rather than scarcity. In this episode, you will learn why having a possibility-oriented mindset is important to achieve your goals and thrive with your art. I will also share with you some of the techniques that have helped me transform mine and that you can start applying today. Plus, I have a gift prepared for you. Enjoy.
Do you have a starving artist mindset or do you have a thriving artist mindset? That is today's question, and I'm so excited to host an episode about mindset because mindset is one of my favorite things to talk about. I talk about it with my friends, my family. I talk about it with students, with the members of my coaching programs. I talk about it on my social media, on my newsletter, because I feel it's such an important tool to achieve your goals and go after what you want, and it's often an overseen tool. It's also sometimes perceived as a woo-woo thing and not a real tool that can have an impact on your results. And this is why I'm really excited to be talking about it today. I'm also very excited because I will be sharing something with you that I've been shaping for the past 2 years, and today I'm releasing a part of it into the world, and I'm really excited to see how that impacts artists out there, but also you. I'm really excited to get feedback about it, so I'm gonna share that with you in a few minutes. But before we dive into the topic of this episode, I want to run a quick test through you. So are you ready? And I need you to, it's a very short test. I need you to write down the questions or the answers in a paper, or remember them in your mind. So I'm gonna go through a set of statements, and you need to write down which are the statements that resonate with you, which are the statements that you heard yourself saying to yourself, or you ever said to someone. So write down those that resonate with you and that you think are true, right? So let's dive in. Write number one. So make a note, number one. If you ever said, or this statement resonates with you, the art market is saturated. Write number two. If you resonate with this statement, nobody else does what I do in the way I do it. Now, write number one. If this statement resonates with you, no one will pay for my art. Write number two. If this other resonates with you, I can make good money with my art. Now, let's move on to the next one and the last one. Write number one. If this clings a bell, I have to take any job that comes my way. Write number two. If this statement resonates with you, I have a vision and I work for projects that align with it. So if most of your answers are number two, you have a thriving artist mindset and you're well on your way to getting what you want. If most of your answers are number one, you lean towards a starving artist mindset. And this is really undermining your growth. And you will see why as we go down this episode. But first of all, I want to tell you that there's nothing wrong with you. If you belong to the second group, the one that leans towards the starving artist mindset, there's nothing wrong with you. In fact, most artists have a starving artist mindset. And I know I did. kind of big time in the very beginning of my career. And this is why I was getting, I was accepting any work coming my way. I always felt that it wasn't enough. I always had fear of what was coming next. And this really was in the middle of, or stood in the middle of my growth. And, it was kind of getting in the way of doing better work, charging more, and even having more time to spend with my family, my friends, to do sports, to do other things other than work, right? Because we have to admit something as artists, that we have turned and this is, I think, a very central topic, or it's a very essential topic among us artists. And I discussed this with Scott Biersack in one of our previous podcast episodes, that we actually have turned our hobby into our job, and therefore we need to put boundaries around what we do, right? So it's no longer that thing that you do on your free time. It's now that thing that allows you to make a living, right? And that thing that you do most of the time. So you need to set boundaries around this. And yes, and this is a very challenging part of being an artist, that you're making a living from something you really love doing, and therefore it's really hard to set boundaries around what you do. It's really hard to say no to jobs coming your way. It's really hard to say no to opportunities, or it's really hard also when opportunities are not coming your way and you start doubting yourself because you start feeling that your art is not good enough, and this is why you don't have opportunities coming your way, right? So all of this has to do with the mindset, and it's such an important part of our work, and also such an important asset when you want to work towards certain goals, that I'm really happy to be talking about this topic, or touching on this topic on this episode. So I want to say you that if you have a starving artist mindset, do not worry. This is a very common thing, and we have all been there. And you can, if you decide to work on it, you can definitely overcome it and change the way you perceive yourself and perceive what you can achieve with your art. Because perhaps you grew up in a household where you were told to get a real job instead of going down the path of art, or you heard a teacher saying that there are too many artists out there, right? Or you may be surrounded by artist friends that gave up on their dreams altogether, right? So you may have had some experiences that may, you may feel that these are messages, these are hints. It's tough to believe that you can make it when people around, when you have these messages around you telling you that you won't do it, right? And no wonder many of us, many artists out there, give up and go get a job somewhere, right? So, but I think what is really important for us to realize, and I was touching on this on previous episodes, is that times have changed, and there's never been a better time to make money with your art. Nowadays, we have so much access to promote ourselves, to create our own audience, to reach out to clients, to connect with people beyond the place where we live, that there has never been really a better time to be an artist and to make money with your art, right? And still, many of us continue operating from a position of scarcity and responding to what I think is a null narrative around what an artist could achieve, right? So I am really excited to introduce this project that I've been working on for the past 2 years. and I'm just releasing a part of it in the world, and I'm really excited about this because it is called the Thriving Artist Manifesto. It is in fact a manifesto, and I'm releasing this as an ebook, and together with a bunch of things that I'm gonna tell you about right now. So it's free for everyone to download right now. You can go to martinaflor.com/manifesto and download it for free. So the ebook is essentially, or the manifesto contains 12 proclamations that define the path and commitments that artists make today to thrive with their art. And they reveal against the status quo, or against all narratives that dictated what an artist could or could not be, right? So when you download the ebook, you will download the ebook with the 12 proclamations. You will get a poster so that you can have those 12 proclamations visible at all times, every day in your life. And you will also get some social media assets so that you can announce that you're living by these proclamations to the world. So there's a couple of fun things that my team and I have prepared together with the ebook, but I feel so I feel this is a project that is so close to my heart. It's something that I work very hard to overcome and to change in my own life and in my own mind as an artist. And it's something in which I have invested so much time in terms of helping other artists, helping my students, the members of my coaching programs to work on. So I'm really happy about releasing this into the world, and I'm really interested also to know how this resonates with you, with other artists out there. So I'm really looking forward to hear what you think once you read it. I'm really looking forward, or I would be really happy if you would get back to me through Instagram or by sending me a message telling me if I should add something, leave something out. This is really a work in progress. This is just the first version of the manifesto, and I'm really excited to get your feedback and kind of use that to shape an even better one. So again, you can go and download it for free on martinaflor.com/manifesto. Now let's move on to why is your mindset important, or why is a mindset or a positive mindset important. In the experience of interviewing dozens of accomplished lettering artists, illustrators, artists here on the podcast, I have confirmed that their mindset is a tremendous asset. So Malika Fag, for instance, that she was one of my guests in one of the podcasts. She's a French artist and illustrator, and she lives now in Barcelona. And she told me the story about how she entered the industry, or how she launched her freelance business already with the goal of making good money with her art, and she came into the business already with this mindset. I think it was due to how her upbringing or how her parents raised her, but there was a determining factor there that she wanted to really achieve a good lifestyle with what she was doing, and she did, right? So I had in the podcast Phoebe and Roxy from Pander Co. They speak a lot about mindset as well, about money mindset specifically. And actually the podcast or the show that I recorded with them is called Money Mindset for Artists. So you can go check it out. I'm going to add it to the show notes. So they reported that when they started their business, they specifically hired a business coach, to help them work on their mindset, and that had a huge impact into getting their business off the ground and really scaling their business as muralists, right? So, and I see that, I have to say, I have seen it in myself as well. I have seen it, when I look back to the first years of my own practice as a lettering artist, and I look at how I approach things, how much chaos there was in my life, how much I was just trying to do everything, how much of a scarcity mindset I had, in terms of I felt that I had to do it all because it could all go away. And when I started working on my mindset, when I hit a wall, at some point I hit a wall where I experienced burnout, and I just felt that there was something that needed to change. I also hired a coach, and I had someone helping me organize my business, organize my my whole life, but also change my mindset around what I was achieving, what I had achieved up until then, and the things, and kind of identifying the things that were bringing trouble in my life. So in my own experience, when I look back to in the very beginning, the way I approach things with this, or the way I approach my business as a lettering artist with a scarcity mindset, and the years after I started working on my mindset and approaching that from a place of abundance and possibility-driven decisions, I can see a total change, not only in the results, but also in the way I enjoy my own business. So I can nothing but, continue preaching for how important mindset is. And I see it every day on my coaching program. I see that when I work with the members of my coaching program on different topics of their business, or different aspects of their business, one of the main things that we need to address are their limiting thoughts and this assumptions that they come in with, that they cannot charge more for their work, or that for instance, one of my students was speaking in the past program, was speaking in last year's program. She was speaking about the fact that clients were feeling uncomfortable around, or she thought that clients, or she had experienced that clients were uncomfortable around signing contracts and limited licenses or limited licensing of her work, right? So, and because she assumed, or she had one or two experiences where clients perhaps reacted in a weird way because she was pulling out a contract, she had stopped bringing in contracts. And because she had stopped bringing in contracts and using contracts daily on her business, she had come to believe that clients didn't want to sign contracts with her, they wouldn't pay for licensing of her work, right? So there were some assumptions behind her actions that were not really true, as opposed to the approach she took afterwards, after we worked through it, and we actually dismantled all these beliefs and all these assumptions, that she was bringing in the contracts to protect the work, to protect the clients, to protect her, and to create a healthy work relationship. And with the time, she was able to present that in a different way, or in a way that was perceived by her clients as a benefit, as something that was a professional attitude coming from her, and they started assigning more value to her attitude towards signing contracts and having everything down on paper, right? So I have seen through my coaching program that members come in with a set of limiting thoughts and a set of narratives that belong to some ideas they have heard here and there, or some assumptions they have around what they should do, or things that they heard from friends. And it takes a while to dismantle those, but if you work through those, you realize that they're based on things that no longer exist. And I think that that's such a great realization of that I see the members of my coaching program going through, because after that, after they do the work, they are really liberated in a way. They are standing up for their work, for their value in a different way. I can see them more confident, and through that they approach their business, they approach clients, they approach their practice with a sense of joy, and also with a focus on possibility, right? So I feel that the mindset is such an important thing. It's a thing, or it's a tool that once you acquire it and once you work on it, it really helps you get there where you want to get with whatever you're doing, with your business, with your developing your skills. So why having an artist or a thriving artist mindset is good for you, or is something you should consider developing and working on. Number one, I would say, because as I said right now, like before, because the way you put yourself out there is the way people see you. The way you present your work is the way people perceives it. The way you stand up for your rates is the way clients will also see you, someone that is, confident, someone that has experience, right? So the world mirrors whatever you put out there. So the way you show up in the world comes back to you in terms of opportunities, in terms of being able to make a living with your art. So that's number one, and that's why it is so important to work on your mindset. So point number two, I would say that it's because it allows you to focus on possibilities rather than a scarcity. And what do I mean with focusing on possibility? The thing is that for whatever thing you want to do, there's various options on how that thing could go, right? It could go well, it could go wrong, it could, not really work out. It could also go great, right? So when you focus on possibility, you focus on that great picture, that great possible world that is waiting for you after you do that. And I've seen that also in many of the guests that I have in this podcast, that they're driven by possibility. They have also, or they strive for that great picture of the world that is waiting for them after they achieve certain thing, right? So they're driven by it. And I can talk for myself as well. I know that because I worked on my mindset, now I'm much more driven by possibility. I normally, when I start a project or when I think of doing something that I'm really nervous about, or I'm afraid about, I try to picture the possibility of what's behind doing that thing for me, right? If I do this, what opportunities open up for me? What is the world that is waiting for me after I accomplish this, right? So having a positive mindset, having a thriving artist mindset allows you to focus on possibility rather than scarcity. And because you focus on possibility, it sets you in action. And this is number three, it sets you in action, right? Because you go after the thing. Whereas if you focus on what could go wrong, you better don't do it, because it just could go wrong. A lot of things could go wrong. So I better stay wherever I am right now. And yeah, I just don't shake things up, right? So just to go through the points once again, I think that having a thriving artist mindset is a great tool to accomplish your goals. And the three main reasons I think that are or the three main reasons why it is important for you, or it could be relevant for you to develop your mindset, is one, because the way you stand up in the world is what the world is what comes back to you, right? So the way you stand up in the world is the way the world perceives you, right? Number two, because it allows you to focus on possibilities rather than on what could go wrong. And because of that, number three, because of that, you take action. It sets you in motion, as opposed to in a scarcity mindset where you just keep things as they are because things could go wrong, right? So I want to talk shortly before we wrap up this episode about how to work on your mindset, because it is a process and it's not a thing that you accomplish from one day to the other, but it is definitely something you can start doing today. And you don't need an amazing app or an amazing whatever to start doing shifts in your life to develop a mindset, or a more positive mindset around what you can accomplish as an artist. So I would say number one is the easiest. Go and download the Thriving Artist Manifesto and make a commitment. Use the assets that we provide you with this ebook, and make a commitment. Just making a commitment on social media or sending that to a friend and saying like, hey, I commit to be this artist, could be enough. Could be a first small fun step that you could do starting today, right? So go to martinaflor.com/manifesto and download the ebook together with the assets and with the poster, and hang the poster somewhere in your working space. Number two, start using positive language to speak about yourself. Don't create a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? So instead of saying my work is not good enough, you can talk about my work is a work in progress and it's gonna get better. Or instead of saying clients won't pay for my work, you can start saying my work has value and clients will pay for it, right? So start using positive language to speak about you, your work, your business, right? And that, this may seem very simple and a little bit woo-woo as well, but the things you hear, I have mentioned before earlier in this episode that because we have heard these different messages coming from our family, friends, media, teachers, they have worn out our self-confidence or confidence around, or our image around what we could accomplish as artists. So the same way, what you say to yourself acts in the same way, or also warns out your own mindset and the idea or the things, your own beliefs around what you could accomplish as an artist. So start by yourself. Start speaking good about yourself and your art and whatever you do and your business and your vision as an artist, right? So step number 3, surround yourself with open-minded people. And we will speak about this in the next episode. We will speak about community and open-minded people. But surround yourself with open-minded people that are, again, not sending you these messages of you cannot do it, you should you won't make money with your art, you should find a real job. So start surrounding, or try to surround yourself with people that have an open-minded mindset, a possibility-driven mindset, because these things, if you start surrounding yourself, if you start hearing the right messages coming your way, not only from an external source, your community, your friends, or the people you're surrounded with, but also from yourself, the things you say to yourself, the way you speak to yourself. This combo is gonna be, it's gonna bring already some results in terms of your mindset and your beliefs around what you could accomplish as an artist. So I hope you start implementing these things today, and I'm really excited to see if this has any result in your life and the way you perceive yourself as an artist. If so, please send me a message on Instagram or send me an email. I will be so happy to hear about it. Again, you can go download the Thriving Artist Manifesto on martinaflor.com/manifesto. I'm really excited for you to read it and give me feedback if you think that there's one of the declarations that should be left out, or if I should add another one. I will be really happy to hear your opinion. So I appreciate that you have been with me throughout this episode. I hope that this episode about mindset has opened some windows in your mind and that you can implement some of the strategies that I share with you today in the next couple of weeks, and let me know how that works for you. So have a great day. Bye.
So this is it. I hope you loved this episode. You can find me, the host of the show, on social networks at Martina Flor on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. If you have a question or comments, go to martinaflor.com/podcast, where you can see previous episodes, find show notes, and send voice memos with your comments and questions. You can also watch these episodes on YouTube. Just go to martinaflor.com/YouTube to find them. You can, of course, listen to all our episodes on your favorite podcast platform. If you loved this episode, subscribe to this podcast. And if you leave us a review, it will help others find us. Thank you all for listening, and see you in the next episode of Martina Flor's Open Studio. Bye-bye.